Alright, here we are again with another Slay the Spire run. Today we are going to have a look at the Regent. As you can see here, I have had only 2 successful Regent runs so far. So I'm very interested in exploring this a little bit more. With the recent beta patches, the Regent has probably gotten a little stronger. So I'm excited to try out some of the new cards, some of the changed cards, and just see what that is all about. If you don't know the Regent, the gimmick here is that the Regent has a secondary resource, these stars, that some cards can generate, some cards will use. So you have a little mini game of trying to generate the resource, which persists each turn, but you don't generate it naturally. So let's go ahead and see what we got here. From now, we can have a look at just upgrading a card. If we were to upgrade a card, we would probably upgrade Venerate, which would allow us to generate more stars. Resting at a rest site to raise our max HP is not all that interesting. And adding more strikes and defense to our deck is really not what we want to do. Not a great set of relics, but I think we're just going to go with the Pomander. Upgrade the Venerate, and that way hopefully we can pick up some stronger star cards early on. Let's go ahead and have a look at the map of the Undergrowth. Already this is looking a little rough. As you can see here, we have a bunch of clusters of enemies early on. If we look at the right-hand route, we can do 3 combats here, then hit our first elite, followed by a potential rest site, and then we would have a more difficult fight right here, because the 4th fight in Act 1 draws from a more powerful pool of enemies, followed by a chest. Then we can spend our money. Yeah, I'm kind of liking the look of this right-hand path. We get a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 enemies. We get 2 elites. We have 3 events, a shop, and 3 rest sites. That gives us a lot of options. Let's have a quick look at the left-hand side. So the issue I see here is that we're hitting our first fight fairly early. And after that, of course, we could go this way, and this way, and this way. And that would give us 1 fewer elites, but we would also have options to take some of the side paths. We could do a bunch of elite fights here. We could do 1, 2, 3 elite fights if we were really up to that. And we could skip all further hallway fights. It would just mean that we are doing a hallway fight like a strong, like one of the stronger hallway fights fairly early on. But I'm still kind of liking the look of this because it gives us some options. So we're going to have a more difficult time here in the early game, and then hopefully it will all smoothen out a little. So let's go to the left here. Not what I was expecting. I was definitely expecting to go to the right there, but just looking at it again, even though we have like this big cluster of hallway fights, that'll give us some card rewards early on, and we just kind of have to power through. Here, I will just defend and strike, and I will venerate, because that'll give us enough resources to cast Falling Stars, a total of 3 times, so that whenever we draw it, we'll be able to cast it, and that's something to do. So here, like I said, we'll do Falling Star, and then we'll strike and defend. Didn't draw into Falling Star, but that's okay. We can block most of this damage and then just strike. And now we'll always get Falling Star, which will apply Vulnerable and Weak. And then we can just defend, and strike. And then next turn we can kill this Fuzzy Worm Crawler with a single strike. Alright, so Glitter Stream 2 for a total of 16 block, one of them a turn after. That's not bad, just gaining some more block, especially something that you can set up and then gain the turn after is pretty good. Guiding Star, that's a lot of card draw, and honestly that's a good deal of damage, and we've already upgraded our Venerate. So usually we will have the resources required to play this. The only issue being, of course, that you spend one on Venerate, then you spend another one on Guiding Star, and then you don't really have any resources left to do any kind of blocking. That being said, Wrought in War, you forge to make the Sovereign Blade that you can then use at a later point. That's fine. But I think I would rather have different forge cards early on. So I think we're just going to go with the Guiding Star here. And hopefully we can pick up a stronger block card a little further in. All right, wood carvings. You open a dusty box to find a set of 3 elaborate wood carvings. A bird, snake, and a Taurus? A nearby pedestal has indentations which match the bottom of the carvings. Which carving will you place on the pedestal? Alright, so we can either transform one of our starter cards to make it into a peck, which deals 2 damage 3 times. That, of course, is the same damage that a strike would deal. However, dealing damage in increments means you can apply a variety of effects. If you have strength, it will deal 3 damage or 4 damage, or however much strength you have 3 times. So definitely an improvement. You can enchant something with Slither to randomize its cost from 0 to 3. We have no cards right now that cost more than 1, so that will be a net negative. Or we can transform a starter card into Tauric Toughness. I don't know if I like that. Spending 2 on 5 block, yes, you get a total of 15 block, but costing 2. I still think this is probably our best option. We were looking for a block card. This is an okay block card if you can set it up. I think we're going to go for the Taurus. And we are going to transform a strike into that. Alright, moving on. So yeah, here we are going to Venerate. We are gonna Guiding Star, and then we're gonna strike. Now, unfortunately, that means, okay, next turn we can definitely do Falling Star, defend Tauric Toughness to block basically all the incoming damage from the Shrinker Beetle, and then also have set up our following turns. So that is actually quite nice. So we're gonna do Tauric Toughness, gonna apply a weak. Now it's gonna only deal 5, so we can actually strike it. And then gonna hit us for 13. We can just block and strike. And then next turn we can probably kill it. Yeah, so very simple, very easy, very good. Distilled Chaos, play the top 3 cards of your draw pile. A good little panic button if you are facing like a really bad combat. Now this is more interesting. Refined Blade seems like a better card here. We're basically spending nothing because we regain the resources to forge 9. I think I'm gonna go for that. And our deck is still fairly small. Oh, I wanted to check, what does this upgrade to? Okay, that's really good. 2 mana for a total of 21 block. That seems pretty good. Alright. The slimes, I don't think we're gonna have much of an issue with these. Right now, what do we want to do? We can just kill this one with an attack. We can also kill this one. Let's just kill this one. Now we have 4 incoming, so we can either do Tauric Toughness, that should set us up for the upcoming turns. But I also just like the idea of doing a regular defend and then Refine Blade. So now we have the Sovereign Blade in hand. It's right here. Retain, so we will not discard this card. It'll just be in our hand and stay here as an attack, and whenever we forge, we'll increase the damage that it deals. So that is one of the Sovereigns, of the Regent's gimmicks. Unfortunately, we don't have enough to cast Falling Star, but that's okay. We can just... I think what we're gonna do here is we're just gonna Sovereign Blade the small one. And then we're just gonna defend. And here we are once again going to Refine Blade. Now, when we draw the Sovereign Blade, it'll deal 28 damage. So that will be enough to kill this little slime. So hopefully we're just gonna draw into it. We unfortunately did not draw into it, but we still could. And since we have nothing better to do, we might as well try. Okay, we have 2 defends, so we're just gonna defend, and next turn we're always gonna draw into the Sovereign Blade. So really, it doesn't matter what we do here. So I'll just venerate. Alright, now we have the Sovereign Blade and can finish this combat. Okay, this is interesting. Alignment isn't bad because we have already upgraded our Venerate, but we have no other generators. And as our deck is getting larger, it'll get more and more difficult to draw into the Venerate, so we don't want to be too reliant on that just now. Orbit is a great power to set up early. Every 4 energy you spend, you gain an extra energy. But I think right now I want to do Spoils of Battle. It helps us get through the deck, it helps us build up a Sovereign Blade, and right now we can still use the Sovereign Blade to deal a good amount of damage. So, yeah. And this is one of the cards that was recently changed in the update. Previously, you did not draw any cards, it just forged a large amount, and it was a bad card then. It's significantly better now, I think, and I'm excited to try it out. Okay, here we have the Fogmog. This is definitely going to be a little tougher than the previous fights. Do I already want to do Falling Star? I think I'd rather conserve my energy, because if we draw into Guiding Star, that's what I would want to do, and we wouldn't have enough. So I think I'm just going to set up the Toric Toughness so we have some block for the next turns, and then strike. The Eye with Teeth, we want to make sure to kill that whenever it comes up, really. Unfortunately, no block here, but we did draw into the Guiding Star. We have 5 blocks, so we're not going to take much damage anyway, so maybe this turn we're just going to spend setting up some things. I think we're going to Refine Blade here. Then we're going to Venerate to have all resources all together. And then we're just gonna strike this Eye with Teeth. And that way we're gonna just take 3 damage here. We have a lot of defense, which is nice. We can also set up the Toric Toughness for another turn. We do want to kill the Eye with Teeth, so we can actually just do this, and this, and this. But we really need to start dealing some damage to the Fogmog, or at least building up this Sovereign Blade, because it's only going to get stronger. As you can see, every other turn it gains a strength, so at some point we have to do something about that. Right now, once again, we're going to strike. Here we're going to Falling Star it. And now I'm thinking we might as well Refine Blade. We don't need to Venerate, so we're going to block. So this deals 28 now. I think the next time that we draw into our Falling Star, we can apply Weak and then hit it with the Sovereign Blade, and hopefully that'll finish it off. And ideally we don't take too much damage from the ever-increasing strength. So once again, unfortunately we don't have any. How much damage do we have? We have 28. We have 40, not enough, so Let's start with a guiding star on this one. We drew into defense, so we can block all of this damage. So we're just going to do this and do this. Do I want to forge 5 or deal 6? Drawing 2 cards doesn't do anything, and we might draw into the falling star. So I think we're just going to do some damage here. And now if we apply weakness, yeah, this is exactly what we wanted. We can do falling star. And now the Sovereign Blade will deal 42 to this and kill it. Very clean, very good. Star Potion, also good in a pinch. Ooh. Okay. I think we might just go hard on the Sovereign Blade for now. The Smith, 1 mana, 4 stars for Forge 30. Yeah. Let's just see how that'll go. Jungle Maze Adventure. In a clearing, you run into a ragtag group. Excuse me. In a clearing, you run into a ragtag group of adventurers, looking down and gesturing at a gigantic maze. They offer to join forces with you in an epic quest to loot the riches of this maze. As an experienced adventurer yourself, it's clear this maze is filled with deadly traps and guardians. It would be easy if you worked together, but then you would have to split the loot. I don't think I want to lose any HP here. I think we're just going to join forces, gain some free gold. Indeed. Everyone's face immediately lights up, including your own. One of the adventurers turns out to be a bard. You merrily waltz into the maze as Aquid, the squid wizard, effortlessly disarms traps, while you and the Grathorian fighter take out the spiky club-wielding guards with ease. This was the most joyous adventure of your life, and you've made some truly great memories. Good squid hand. I had to step away for a second, but now we are back. The timer has advanced a little bit. And I think we're doing okay to take on this elite. We're probably going to have to use some potions if we draw into the Smith card early on. We might use the Star Potion to be able to cast it and then hopefully finish the elite off quickly. Ugh, okay. This is going to be a little bit of an issue because we currently have no way to deal any damage to groups of enemies. And the frog parasite, beautiful thing, will split into 4 little parasites, each of which will, yeah. So, here's what we'll do. Definitely Refine Blade this turn. Yeah, really not ideal, but let's start by drawing some cards. Okay, we just got the defense. That's fine. And then we're just going to strike. So we're going to build up a reasonably large Sovereign Blade and then hopefully kill off the frog parasite in 1 or 2 attacks. Falling Star is going to be good here. Apply Weak to reduce some of the incoming damage. And so we're taking 12 right now. We only have 2 cards on top of our draw pile, but they are good. I am kind of inclined to play Distilled Chaos here because those 2 cards will help us quite a bit. We could actually just finish this off right now. Right? This forges 30, 54, yes. We're actually gonna play the Distilled Chaos. What happened here? Okay, it also plays some card from... Interesting. Well, it did play the Infection, which is now in our discard pile, so that's fine. That is splendid. Because now we can simply Sovereign Blade and finish off this parasite. And that'll give us an opportunity to deal with these little guys. We could Venerate Guiding Star. And I think that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna draw some cards that we're probably not gonna be able to use, but if we do draw into the Falling Star, we can deal another 8 damage. So let's try this. Ooh, beautiful. We did draw into Falling Star, which means we can just kill this one. Good start. Gonna draw 5 cards. Hopefully we can... yeah, we're probably gonna need some block next turn, but we're getting 5 from the Toric Toughness, so this is actually going pretty well. We're gonna take 12 in total, so we're gonna just defend. Do we want a Refine Blade? It's always gonna kill something no matter what. But we will gain more energy, and that could be useful next turn. So we're gonna Refine Blade. And then we're going to strike the one that has 18 HP. And we're gonna take a small amount of damage this turn. We have one more round of Toric Toughness. We're gonna having 8 coming in this turn, so we can block most of that. We're gonna start with Spoils of Battle. We drew the Sovereign Blade, which is great. However, we're gonna skip on the Sovereign Blade this turn, because we can basically have the same thing by simply playing Strike. Strike, and this will retain. So we're gonna take 1 damage here. And then this turn, this one is attacking, so we can simply Sovereign Blade this one. Defend, block the infection damage, and hopefully not take much more damage from this little Wriggler. Oof, a very unfortunate draw. Yeah. Not a whole lot we can do about this. We are going to take some damage after all. 11 damage coming in. We could reduce that a tiny amount. Oh, I should have. Yeah, this was a misplay. I actually... Could I have killed it? I could have killed it. I should have just drank my potion, cast Falling Star, did a strike. This potion is not worth the 11 that I'm taking. So, pretty big misplay here. Hopefully it won't cost us too much. And now we can just Venerate Guiding Star. And that's it. Red Mask, very good pickup. At the start of each combat, apply 1 weak to all enemies. That makes setup turns just that much easier, because everyone will be dealing less damage to us. Summon Forth. Useful. Forge 8, put Sovereign Blade into your hand from anywhere, so if our Sovereign Blades ends up in our discard pile or gets exhausted for whatever reason, we get it back. Another Spoils of Battle could also be interesting, but I think we're interested in 1 Summon Forth. Now the question is, do we want to hit a shop? Do we have another shop up there? We do, but that would mean skipping all further elite fights. If we hit the shop, we could go this way. That would still so many hallway fights. We might just have to skip some elite fights this combat, and just do something like this. Because we definitely want to hit a shop. That way we could do 1 rest and 1... We might get away with forging cards in both of these. Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna go for. Just gonna go ahead. We're gonna forge a card here. What do we want here? I think upgrading the Toric Toughness is just so strong. 7 block each turn for 3 turns. That's pretty great. We're gonna go for that. And let's see what we're getting in here. The Pantograph, wonderful. That might make it so that we do not have to do any rest going forward, so we can just happily upgrade all of our cards here. Let's see, what are we interested in? We can just upgrade our Forge cards a little. The Smith, obviously, giving Forge 40 is pretty great. We're not going to be able to cast it all that often. When we cast Venerate, we have 6. That gives us enough to do 1, either Guiding Star, Falling Star, plus the Smith. So that's just 10 per combat. Alternatively, Guiding Star, drawing 3 cards is pretty nice. Dealing 1 extra damage, that's not too interesting. I think we're just gonna upgrade the Smith, go kind of all in on that. And then we're gonna hit this event. Oh, wonderful. Another relic. The Unsettling Lamp. Each combat the first time you play a card that debuffs an enemy, double its effect. This is actually really nice. The Falling Star applying 2 turns of weakness and 2 turns of vulnerable is pretty huge. Very happy to have picked that up. And I will actually pick it up. Sometimes you just kind of hit the proceed button and accidentally skip your relic. Don't do that. Let's actually clear all of this up. Now just this hallway fight against the Flycanid and the Snapping Jackfruit. Okay, we can block most of the incoming damage here. With this 7, we're taking a total of, we would take 3. So we could either do that and Refine Blade and just take 3, or we can block all of this damage. But I think we're okay with taking 3 and having a better next turn. I think overall that's probably going to be more useful. We're probably going to be able to preserve more health by having an extra energy next turn rather than blocking the 3 damage here. Or not. So I think we're going to start with Forge of Spoils of Battle. Draw some cards. Our Sovereign Blade is currently doing 24 damage. That means with Summon Forth, well, or anything really, we can kill the Snapping Jackfruit. So that actually seems very reasonable. 6, well, we would have to use the Guiding Star, wouldn't we? Guiding Star or Falling Star would do it. What about Falling Star on this one? We would put it down to 39, it would be weakened vulnerable. That means this would deal 36 damage. 36 plus 8 is 44, and then we can strike to finish it off. I actually like that, because generally the Flycanid is going to be more of a problem than the Snapping Jackfruit. So let's just Falling Star, strike, and Sovereign Blade here. We're going to block all of this. We can do another Toric Toughness here. We can deal... Yeah, we're not going to be able to kill it, so I think we're just going to block all that damage. We already have our Sovereign Blade back, so probably next turn we can just kill it straight up. Yep, no problem. So here we're just going to Refine Blade and kill it. Okay, pretty happy with how the deck is coming together, at least this early on. Just a lot of ways of making the Sovereign Blade really strong, and the deck is very small right now, so we draw into it fairly consistently. Cloak of Stars, just a little block card for 1 star. Right now, once again, we don't have a lot of ways to generate them, and we need them for the Smith and our other, for Falling Star. So right now I'm not too interested in picking up more star cards until we find a way to generate more resources. For the same reason I'm not going to pick up Particle Wall. Be Gone, though. That is actually quite interesting. Choose a card in your hand to transform into Minion Strike. And Minion Strike is just a 0 mana, 0 energy attack, deal 6 damage, draw a card, and exhaust. That helps us really thin out our deck because we can get rid of all of our strikes, right? We play the Be Gone, we transform a strike, we play the Minion Strike, and the Minion Strike is exhausted. So I'm very happy to pick up 1 Be Gone. My cat was demanding my immediate attention, so I had to step away for a second. Alright, so we're going to proceed. And yeah, I am very interested in hitting this shop. I think more interested than getting an elite. We have enough gold to potentially also buy a relic. So let's see what we have here. We have another Be Gone. Let's just go through these one by one. We don't want a collision course. The debris is not particularly useful for us, and the zero energy attack, just not what we want to do here. Some more Forge. Generally interesting, but I don't think we need more. We don't need another Be Gone. Of course, we can eventually start turning the Be Gones into minion strikes, but I think one of them is plenty. Cloak of Stars, I've already talked about. We don't have any way of generating more resources. Child of the Stars, that's kind of interesting. I think we might pick that up. We'll see where our resources are. At the start of the third turn, gain 3 energy. That's generally kind of good. You do want extra energy. Every time you play 10 skills, gain 7 block. That's also going to happen reasonably often. That's fine. Enchant and attack with momentum 5. Increase this card's attack damage by 5 this combat when played. So you really want to do that with attacks you can play over and over and over again. We cannot enchant our Sovereign Blade, so that's not particularly interesting for us either. Instead, we go for a card removal. We will have around 275 left. So we're not going to be able to afford a card removal, the Chandelier, and the Child of Stars. Can we afford the Fork? No, we also can't afford those 3. A little unfortunate how that panned out. But I do think I want the Child of Stars. Because that's an easy, just small block gain every now and then. But I do want it more than... Okay, we're gonna start with a card removal here. We're always gonna remove a strike. And I think I kind of want the Chandelier. I'm low-key interested in that. We have a small deck. We can sometimes just cycle through it with Spoils of War, and that could potentially give us a good opportunity on the third turn to play a Sovereign Blade that deals a reasonable amount of damage. Also helps us with the Toric Toughness. So I think I'm just gonna grab this Chandelier. Alright. Now, just one more regular fight. Shrinker Beetle, Fuzzy Worm Crawler. Shouldn't give us too much trouble. We're going to start with Spoils. We have to defend. Well, it's not the best start, but we can just defend and upgrade our Sovereign Blade. And then hopefully, if we upgrade it one more time into Falling Star, we should be able to kill something. Although, we will be shrunk now. So our attacks deal 30% less damage, so right now it's just deal 16. But here we can just Toric Toughness, block all of the incoming damage. And then I think we're gonna Refine Blade. Yeah, then we can do the Falling Star and we can do Venerate at a later time. Although next turn will be our third turn, so we already have a bunch of energy available. So actually we're gonna do the Venerate. Yeah, we don't have any draws, so that was definitely the right call. We're also going to take a big hit here, so being able to do all of these things is definitely a good thing. Let's see here. We can apply some weakness to one of the enemies and vulnerability. Is that enough to kill it? If we deal 5 to this, we deal 30% less. Oof, it's gonna be mathin'. So it's gonna be at 35. A Sovereign Blade will deal 24 if we summon forth first. So 24 plus 5 is 29. The 24 will be reduced by 30%, so that's like around 19, and with vulnerable it's going to be like 29. Not going to be enough to kill either of these. So instead we can just... we're going to Falling Star this one. Now we have to block 20. That's not going to be an issue. We're just going to do this and this and this. And I think since we're not going to be able to kill it, we're going to deal 24. 24, 32. We're just going to do this first and then summon forth so we have it back in our hand. And then we can definitely kill at least one of them next turn. Alright. We can also smith it now. We smith it. Then we will be able to deal 61 damage, which will be enough to kill the Fuzzy Worm Crawler. So, yeah, that does sound reasonable. Smith. Oh, it only deals 49 damage, actually. That's a little error. Can we mitigate that? Yeah, I think we should be able to just kill the Shrinker Beetle then. Small mistake. It is what it is. We're gonna cast Be Gone. We're going to transform our Defend. That'll deal 6 here. And then another 6 here. We're gonna take a small amount of damage here because that was obviously a mistake. But now we can just do this. Finish this battle. Royal Gamble. Honestly, nah, I'm interested. It exhausts. We will have a very easy time getting to 5. Let's just try that. And then here, because we're going to heal by 25 because of wait. Didn't we get the thing that lets us heal? Did I skip? Oh, I did it again. I keep skipping my goddamn relics. Ah, that's embarrassing. We gotta rest. Okay. Note to self. Click the relics. Click the fucking relics as they appear. That's fine. That's fine. We're just gonna be doing it without. The Ceremonial Beast. Well, let's find out what it does. So here, since it's just buffing, we can also do a little setup. We're gonna Venerate, gonna Guiding Star, and unfortunately, we do not have enough for either of these. That is truly unfortunate. I can use the Star Potion, honestly, and use the Royal Gamble. Now we'll never have star issues again. And then we're just gonna strike. So, the first time Ceremonial Beast HP reaches 150 or below, it becomes stunned and loses all its strength. So we want to kind of see that we put it under 150 at a useful time when it's charging up for a big attack, something like that. Right now our hand is not looking too hot, especially for an 18 hit coming in, which is going to transform this strike to a minion strike. Next turn. Okay, if we draw 2, if we're lucky, we're going to get the Falling Star. Which should be reasonably useful. However, we might as well just double defend. Only take 8 here. And then guaranteed get the Falling Star. Once again, we have a Be Gone. However, there's nothing in particular that I would like to rid myself of. But we have a lot of energy, so we can actually do this. We can Smith. We can Spoils of Battle. And then we can... we can actually put it under 150 right now. Which means... we could either Forge again, but then we're gonna skip... well, but it does get stunned. So, we could just Refine Blade here. I am going to get rid of my Defend. A Minion Strike. And then we're going to hit it for 96 with Sovereign Blade, stunning it. And now we really hope to draw into our Summon 4th. Because that will be nearly enough to just kill it straight up. Still has 1 turn of Vulnerable, and we did draw into a Summon 4th, so that is beautiful. We can deal another 70 to 108, and with a strike, that's just lethal. That was very, very, very clean. Yeah, the Sovereign Blade can definitely lead to a very, very early kill. So even though we didn't heal 25 this combat as we should have, we had a very easy time of it. Ooh, okay. So, Big Bang is kind of, yeah, kind of just the clear winner here. Draw a card, gain an energy, gain 5, forge, gain a star. Exactly what we want. And if we upgrade it, we always start with it. So, kind of perfect. We're gonna take it. All right, and now we have reached the hive. Let's see what we are being offered here. More stories! Found these for you. Now tell more story. We can upgrade 6 random cards. It's not the worst. At the start of each combat, add 1 luminous into your hand. Retain, gain 2 energy, exhaust. It's not awful. It's not great. Replace Divine Right with Divine Destiny. At the start of each combat, gain 6 stars. Okay, so we could just start each combat with 6 stars, which is always then enough to do the royal gamble and then never have any star issues ever again. Upgrading 6 random cards, as long as, I mean, we don't mind hitting some of our defense, honestly. And we have a few cards that we definitely want to upgrade along the way. And that should probably be better, because the cards, like, some of the cards also give us stars, or gain us energy, so I think we're just gonna upgrade those. And oof, that was very good. None of our defense, but we did get an upgrade on the strike, the Refined Blade, the Summon Forth, the Be Gone, the Big Bang, and the Royal Gamble. So this is great. This is, I think, an excellent start. Okay. We have a little bit of gold. We probably want to hit a shop later, but right now I don't think we need any of these. We have enough to remove 1 card, so if we hit 1, that's fine, but it's not what we're looking for. I'm looking at the left-hand side here. Have a fight, 2 events, another fight, hit the first rest site, then probably try and do 2 elites. Okay, this would put us into 3 elite fights, so we'll have to see how we're doing around here. Definitely high risk, but very high reward. And the nice thing here is that unless we hit a random combat in one of these rooms, we will never hit the, we will only hit the stronger enemy right towards the end. A little dangerous, because we're going to hit 1, 2, 3 elites, followed by a stronger hallway fight. But we can always do an emergency left side, which would make combat a little bit easier. But looking at all the other paths here, I don't think any of these have any upside over this. So we're just gonna start to the left. Alright, the exoskeletons, they can only take 9 damage each turn, so our huge blade is not gonna do much here. That being said, we can probably just try to pick them off 1 by 1. We'll always start with the Big Bang because, you know, draws a card, gives us all the resources we need. That in turn will give us the Toric Toughness, which gives us all the block we're gonna need this turn. Now, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot we can do. I might just use the Sovereign Blade because it's never gonna deal more than 9 damage anyway. And we're just gonna start dealing some damage. A little unfortunate. Yeah, we're gonna have to hit this one twice in a turn. All the other ones we can kill with 3 attacks, but we can probably hit one of them with like a regular strike, and that's okay. But we are gonna start on this one because it's gonna buff up and it's gonna be stronger than these on average. And then 18 incoming this turn. We don't have any block right now. So yeah, a little unfortunate that we didn't get any of our defense. And now that we have so much star generation, we're very interested in picking up some of the block cards, because none of our cards are doing any blocking, only our blocks are. Which, yeah, will make us very vulnerable very quickly. So we really hope to pick something up here. We're gonna start with a guiding star, I think. If we draw another attack, we can kill one of them. And we probably just want to kill this one. So we are gonna do guiding star here. Yeah, and then I can do strike and strike. And now we're only taking 1 damage this turn. But yeah, we really need to upgrade our block. The toric toughness is good, but everything else is kind of okay. Unfortunately, we have not played Venerate, so we can't play Royal Gamble, but we can retain this card, so that's not too much of an issue. We're gonna Refine Blade. We can just play all the cards, honestly. We have so much energy this turn, so we're just gonna do... we have enough defend, but we might as well do this, and then this, and defend, and then we're just gonna retain this. And yeah, the toric toughness is really good here. Just in general, it has generated so much block for us. Sadly, we have drawn into all of our star cards. But we can draw some more. And hopefully that'll get us something. We could summon forth, but we do not have any means. I think we're just gonna make this a full-on block turn. Next turn we'll draw into a Sovereign Blade and then a strike, so we can kill one of them. Just the 9 damage is a little awkward for us, but ultimately I think we are okay. We have 7, so we're gonna kill off this one just with Sovereign Blade and strike, and then we take 3. Alternatively, can I do something else? I can do Be Gone, then do strike, strike, defend. That is actually much better. So we're just gonna transform our Royal Gamble into a minion strike. We're gonna deal 9 here. Then we're gonna strike it, and we're gonna defend, and that blocks all of the damage. Now this turn, once again, well, we're going to do a minion strike again. I will not be needing any more defense. We're gonna kill this one before it can deal any damage to us, I think, because we're just gonna do Sovereign Blade. The next turn we're gonna draw into a strike, and that will be that. A little awkward here. We really need something to give us some block. Cosmic Indifference. That's not bad, actually. A summon forth, another summon forth. I'm very interested in one more of these. What are we facing? Okay, we're gonna have one more opportunity to pick up a card, but after that we really need to have our blocks in order. I think I'm gonna go for the Cosmic Indifference. It's a block card. It can help us. It'll also get us back our Sovereign Blade in a pinch. Yeah. Try to play it a little safe. This or that? Arms suddenly jut out from a nearby hole, clutching a suspicious bag of riches and a clearly cursed relic. This or that? A scratched up voice whispers from below. This or that? The nice thing about the Clumsy is that sometimes we can transform it into a minion strike. But I think we're just gonna go for the gold. We don't really have any way of guaranteeing that we have the minion strike in the same hand. And if we don't have the card draw to really, work with the Clumsy. So I will just take this. You grab the bag, and as soon as you do, a third hand appears and clutches at you. After a frantic struggle, it releases. The arms and the hole have vanished. The Lost Wisp. In the distance is an odd sight, mounds and mounds of diseased insects surrounding what looks to be a small, glowing moat. It seems to be an effective attractant for all manner of bugs, but you see it lash out some flames. You move closer to investigate. We can add a decay to our deck to obtain the Lost Wisp. Decay, unplayable at the end of your turn. If this is in your hand, take 2 damage. Whenever you play a power, deal 8 to all enemies. Right now, we do not have any powers. So we're just gonna go for more gold. And we have a good amount of gold. Sadly, we're not hitting any shops this act. Are there any shops? Oh yeah, we had them all early on. So we're gonna have to save our gold for Act 3, I suppose. Alright, the Thieving Hopper is gonna try to steal something of ours. Hopefully we can kill it. We should probably be gone. We should probably be okay. Because we can probably Sovereign Blade it pretty hard before it can steal our shit. I'm gonna be it for 12 this turn. That's a little much to deal with. Let's start with Spoils of Battle. Then we can defend. Do we want to Venerate? We have 4. Don't think we need to Venerate here. I think we're simply gonna summon forth and make a big Sovereign Blade. It's trying to steal our Royal Gamble. Yeah, we do want that back. We're gonna Refine Blade. And then I'm just gonna hit it for 44. Sounds good. Now we have to deal significantly more damage because it is flying, so attacks deal 50% less damage. However, we can apply some weak. Unfortunately, we have no cards in our discard pile right now, but we definitely want to apply weak. We definitely want to do Guiding Star. Then we can Venerate. Unfortunately, not enough to do the Smith right now. However, if we Venerate, then play Cosmic Indifference, get the Venerate back. Oh, it's on top of the... Okay, top of the draw pile. Okay, I have to remember that. Not putting it back into my hand. And we just defend, block all the damage. Hopefully we can deal... Yeah, if we draw into a Sovereign Blade, that's gonna be fine. Should not have put the Venerate back on top of my deck. That was not very smart of me. But I think we should be fine here. We have to deal 3 more... Do 3 more attacks. We can do 1. Do I still need... I do not need the Venerate, so I'll just be gone the Venerate for this combat. I'll do a Minion Strike. I'll do Summon forth. Okay, let's think about this. We have 2 more turns, so we're kind of fine. We're gonna do a Strike. We're gonna defend. We're gonna take 5 here. And then next turn, we're always gonna draw a Sovereign Blade. And just straight up kill this thing. Take the Royal Gamble back. And now I think we're interested in a Particle Wall. That's a lot of block. We can generate a good amount of stars in longer combats. That'll be very useful. Spirit Grafter. Above, a cocoon is shaking and wriggling, about to burst forth. It stops wriggling. The cocoon ignites. What is going on? In a flash of light and flame, a spirit grafter rushes into you, threatening to merge with your being to become complete. We can heal for 25 and add a Metamorphosis to our deck. Add 3 random attacks into your draw pile. They're free to play this combat. That's not great. It's not awful. Healing for 25 is interesting. I think we're just going to reject it and upgrade a card here. Because that means we can just heal that damage back at a rest site later. Gaining 12 block from the particle wall sounds pretty good. Yeah, I think that's just what we're going for. The spirit grafter is easily stopped by a will. However, it repeatedly flies into you, desperate for a host. Its strength runs out and it dissolves with a poof. A fleeting spirit. And here, I think we're going to take one safety rest. Just because we just did our upgrading. And we are going to face a bunch of elite fights because I do think I want to go to the right here. All right, let's move on to this elite. Bit of a risk to go this way, but we haven't encountered too many problems so far, so I'm feeling a little confident. Here, once again, we're gonna go Big Bang. Nice, and we can just set up our toric toughness early on. We like that. We are gonna need to do a particle wall if we don't want to take any damage. And then I think we're just gonna do this. One is enough. We're gonna do Be Gone. Transform our strike into a minion strike plus. This will also gain us an energy because the infested prism has Vital Spark. The first time it takes damage from attack each turn, the attacker gains an energy. And that means we can either already starting with our Sovereign Blade, but I think we're just going to do Spoils of Battle. Sadly, we don't have the energy for the Royal Gamble, but again, we're going to retain it. So we can just defend and turn. Alright. We can Venerate into the Smith, and then we just need a little bit of defense to not take too much damage here. And that also means that we should be doing an attack, but we will not be able to Guiding Star here. If I do Sovereign Blade here. What if I do Venerate, Sovereign Blade, the Smith? We won't have the blade in hand, but we will be getting it back fairly reliably. Yeah, I think that works. However, we will not be gaining any block. So maybe we should just not overthink this. And we're just gonna defend, Venerate the Smith. And now our Sovereign Blade is already dealing 60. We're wasting 1 energy here, but that is okay. Here we can 9 times 3. Unfortunately, we once again are a little low on our stars. The Royal Gamble, I think we might need just one more little thing. We have a lot of energy though. I have no way of drawing cards, so we're just gonna have to take a fairly substantial hit. We have 1 block, we have 6 block. I think we might just use the energy potion to minimize damage. 6 plus 5 is 18. We're gonna take 27. With dexterity, we're gonna take 23. I don't think we necessarily need to use the potion here. Instead, we are going to Refine Blade. And I will Sovereign Blade here. Do Cosmic Indifference. We're gonna put the Sovereign Blade back on top of our draw pile. And then we're just gonna go defend and strike. Take a bit of a hit here. But now we can immediately Sovereign Blade again. Yeah, we need something to gain us some stars. Preferably some kind of power. We're gonna Spoils of Battle. Yeah, once again. Little annoying, but we can Venerate. Falling Star. Then Sovereign Blade for 117. Perfect lethal. Block Potion, that's very welcome. Bag of Preparation. 2 additional cards, that's actually really, really useful. Okay. Now we're talking. We definitely want the Sword Sage. Sovereign Blade now hits an additional time. Upgraded, it'll only cost 1. That is what we want to see. And this time we're definitely gonna take the meal ticket. Whenever we enter a shop, room, heal 15. That'll only be relevant in the next act, unless this is a shop, which is possible. We'll see. We have a good amount of potions. We gain some block, I think. Yeah. The Entomancer should be manageable. We're not dealing a whole lot of small increments of damage, so not super worried. Let's start with our big bang. We didn't draw any of the impactful things. We have a lot of defense, though. I think this combat we're just going to use our dexterity potion. Just going to make blocking all of the damage a little easier. We're definitely going to smith, because that'll make the Sovereign Blade quite powerful. And then we're just going to defend. And defend. That'll block all of the damage. Not super interested in striking, because that'll put things into our... That'll put dazed into our draw pile. I don't think we want that right now. We also don't want to put anything from our discard pile on top of our draw pile. Do we have a lot of draw in here? No. We actually... a lot of these cards are already dead, because we can't play anything that costs energy right now unless we draw the Venerate. So we don't want to take any risks, so... It's a lot of bees. So we can Venerate here, and we can do Toric Toughness, and we can do Particle Wall, which will block all of the incoming damage, I think. 18. Yes, so Venerate, Particle Wall, Toric Toughness. And we're just gonna try to set up this Sovereign Blade to kill the Entomancer in as few hits as possible. That's why we have Sword Sage. So here, I think we're just gonna do Sword Sage. Then we're gonna Refine Blade. We're gonna hit this one for 68 twice. If we do this, it'll be 79 twice. That just kills it straight up. So goodbye. Okay. Yeah, we're doing quite well. Regular enemy combats are no longer encountered in question mark rooms. That's nice. Gain 13 block and forge 10. Actually. Yes, okay. Now here we will upgrade something. We could either do Bulwark to gain a ton of block. However, right now I think I'm most interested in upgrading the Sword Sage. Because right now we can only reliably cast it if we draw it on turn 3, where we have a ton of energy. So let's go with that. I hate the fucking slippery bridge. We're gonna lose some HP. What do we actually want to lose? Let's have a look. I think maybe Spoils of Battle is actually the best thing we can lose here. Guiding Star alternatively, but I'm not willing to roll until we hit Guiding Star, so... Unfortunately, we're gonna lose one of our cards, but that's just how it is. Okay, this might be an issue. We have the Explosive Ampoule, that's gonna help us a little bit. We have Strength. Yeah, let's see where we end up. We have all of our cards here that help us forge. We can also set up the Sword Sage. That being said, the Sword Sage is not doing that much this combat. How much are we taking? 16 in total. We don't have a lot of our defense right now. I think we might use the block potion this turn, because that way we can set up all of our things. So let's drink this. And then we are going to... We just smith. Then we can just one-shot every single one of them. We don't even need the Sword Sage, so we can just get rid of it. So let's just Smith. Then we'll Sovereign's Blade one of them. The one that applies the debuff. Unfortunately, they will resurrect between turns. Not a lot we can do about that. We're just going to try and keep all of that manageable. So we're not taking any damage this turn. We're going to Refine Blade just for the energy next turn. And then we'll just try to manage all of the damage that is coming in. Okay, we can just kill another one with Summon Forth. That actually sounds kind of good. Once again, the middle one will regenerate in between these turns, but then we can Cosmic Indifference. Put the summon, and then we're just kind of be playing catch up. Every time one crops up, we're gonna be able to kill it, but at some point we're gonna have to do different things here. But we can block a lot of damage, so that's what we're gonna do. And then we're just gonna slash one of them dead. We're taking the strongest one. So yeah, it's a bit of a game of whack-a-mole. But I'm sure we can find something to do here. Okay, this is kind of bad. Gonna start with a Venerate. How much damage can we deal? 12? Not nearly enough. They're dealing 18. We can do 17 right now without expending any energy. So I think that's just what we're gonna do. Unfortunately, that'll mean all of them are back. But then next turn, maybe we can do something with an Explosive Ampoule and some attacks. We'll see. Unfortunately, I am now weak. So all of our attacks are also dealing less damage. Yeah. This is a little tricky with this character, not gonna lie. What can we put on top? Venerate is an option. Yeah, with Venerate we can Royal Gamble and then we can do some other things. So maybe we're just gonna play the Cosmic Indifference. Put Venerate on top. And we're just gonna Bulwark. Not take any damage here. The next turn we can Venerate, Royal Gamble, and at least we'll have a lot of energy at our disposal. Or a lot of stars, I guess. Okay. Did not get our Sovereign Blade or our Summon Forth. It's a little tricky. It's a little tricky, not gonna lie. Smithing really doesn't do anything here. Neither does Sword Sage, so not a lot to do here. This is gonna be a bit of a mess, not gonna lie. Well, what are we to do? It is what it is. We're Venerating, we're Royal Gambling, and we're Toric Toughnessing. And then we're gonna take a shit ton of damage, unfortunately. Oof. Okay. Minion Strike Plus deals 9, plus 10 is 19. Once again, that's not enough to kill anything. Wow. Are we just gonna die here? Okay, we're definitely gonna have to kill one of them. One that deals 14 with a Sovereign Blade. We can draw anything that we put on top with, but we can't put anything on top. We kind of just have to hope to draw into a particle wall. That would be amazing. But there's no way to ensure that. But we're always gonna have to cast Begone. We're gonna do that on the strike. We're gonna minion strike something. Gonna do one of these. Okay, we got Bulwark. But we can't just keep blocking because we're gonna take too much damage. Bulwark is gonna block 13, but we can just eliminate 14 just by killing this one. So now we're gonna take 13, and then we just have to make sure that we kill these at some point. Yeah, this character is really not, really not great for this kind of thing. And once again, there's absolutely nothing we can do here. Wow, that is so unfortunate. I think we might just die. Damn. I mean, a Sovereign Blade is dealing 100 damage now, but it's not gonna do anything. Oh, wow. Look at that. I think this run might just end here. That is so unfortunate. Wow. Well, we'll do what we can. But I don't think it's enough. I don't think it's enough. I mean, we can maybe clutch it out. How much? Yeah, I mean, we're at 2. But can we kill it? We can actually kill it. Jesus Christ. Oof. Okay, that was some of the worst. Incredible. We should have taken this first, but it's fine. We're gonna take the Child of the Stars. Well, fuck me. 2, huh? Oh. We better not take any damage against this spiny toad here, huh? Okay. Let's see. Alright, we have 66 damage. Sovereign Blade, that should just kill the spiny toad next turn. It has Thorns 5, so we have to be very, very careful to be able to block that. 1/5 block plus 66 for 99 damage. So yeah, we'll just do this and this. A regen potion is very, very welcome. Jesus. We're just gonna skip this. Yeah, we're going to take a rest here. Now I would really love that relic that heals us for 29 for 25 when we enter a boss battle. Not gonna happen. So yeah, the crab, giant enemy crab. Yeah, so we are gonna have to try and manage these 2 claws. Luckily we have the Sword Sage in hand to set that up early on. We're always going to use the regen potion. We're always going to use the strength potion. And I think we're also always going to use the stock potion. So we're just going to do all of that because that lets us royal gamble from the get-go. So we'll never have any star issues again. We're going to big bang. We're taking 15 this turn, so we can maybe bulwark, I think. Yeah, let's bulwark here. We're gonna have to make an attack against this one, because the ones that you are not facing will deal 50% more damage. So we are interested in just doing a guiding star here. And then we're gonna have to do Sword Sage. Yeah, let's do that. Didn't draw anything interesting, but we also don't mind these being shuffled back in. So we're taking 12. I will Sword Sage. Pass my turn. Gonna regenerate a little bit of health. This one will get pretty dangerous within around 3 turns. And when one of the claws dies, the other one will gain 6 strength and 99 block. So just something to be aware of there. I think we're gonna start with Child of the Stars. Then we go Falling Star on this one and Tauric Toughness, and see if we can tough it out. We're gonna take some damage here. Nothing we can really do about that, but we're also regenerating some health, so hopefully it will all end up being manageable. We have the particle wall, which is nice. However, this turn we're definitely going to have to make an attack in this direction, and for that we can do everything really. We're gonna Refine Blade. We don't have the best cards in hand this turn, but gonna gain some block. Yeah, we can just play everything. Then Sovereign Blade for a total of 80 in this direction. Do we need any more block? We're gonna take 12. No. So we can just shuffle the particle wall back in. We're gonna get the Smith next turn, and that way our Sovereign Blade will now deal 160 damage in one attack. That'll help us handle either of these. Unfortunately, Rocket will now deal 49 damage in one attack. I don't know if we're gonna survive that, to be perfectly honest with you, because we have no way of applying weakness right now. We don't have the blade in hand. We might die here. 35, so I will need to gain a bunch of... With Summon Forth and the Smith. Forge for 51. So this will be... Okay. Forge for 51. So this will go up to a total of 80. Okay. Is that enough to straight up kill? 38 plus 11 is 49. Plus it's 89 times 2. Not quite enough to kill Rocket here. That is very, very unfortunate. And we're also weak, so we're always going to deal less damage, actually. And we're frail. This is really a little disastrous, to be perfectly frank. Oof. Wow. Yeah. Okay, actually, we're taking less damage if we turn around. So I think that's just what we're going to do. We're just going to have to accept that we're going to take so much damage here. But 33, so yeah, we're going to be very low. Oof. But now we have the particle wall and also Falling Star. So let's start with that. Do a particle wall. That's enough defense, so we can just strike it. Oof, definitely a little precarious here. And now Rocket is back. Bulwark will gain us 13 block, not enough to survive. This will gain us 7 block. 13, 26, they're dealing 21. Okay, yeah, we can survive that. Do we want to Venerate again? We always have to Bulwark. There's no way around that. That's just the most amount. We could draw 2 cards. That'll be a strike and a defend. 14 damage. No, we have to Bulwark here. And then we might as well Refine Blade. Gain a little bit of extra energy. And then just... Woof. Yeah, we have to kill Rocket this turn. Sadly, I don't think there is a way, unless we draw into the blade right now, and even then... Okay, well, we will have to draw into the blade. We did not draw into the blade. That is unfortunate. Can't particle wall anymore. Can do bulwark and defend. We're taking 29. We're 27. Sadly, we did not get there. Yep. That is unfortunate. This was a good deck. Unfortunately, it all fell apart. Right here. The Decimillipede. We took 49 damage. Yeah, that was just not good. That is where it all went wrong. Should have actually paid more attention to that, because with 3 elites, we were almost guaranteed to get a Decimillipede this. I think it's actually guaranteed that we get a Decimillipede. And we were not equipped to deal with that. We were just not. So that was my bad. We could have picked up the Sovereign Blade upgrade that lets you hit all enemies. That would have obviously just been exactly what we needed. We were well set up overall. We just didn't have enough ways to gain like large amounts of block. And I think that's something to pay attention to, especially early on. We had all the things that we needed to make a huge Sovereign Blade, but then no way to actually ensure that we get to cast it and stay alive, especially against multiple enemies. Single enemies would have been fine, but we already saw, like, when you enter the act, you immediately see who the boss is, so we should have adequately prepared for that. And we weren't adequately prepared because we were very much going into like a single large enemy direction and had no way of dealing with just the consistent pressure from both of these claws. So, yeah, we learned something today. We were indeed inadequately prepared. Well, maybe next time. Sovereign, definitely an interesting class. The resource juggling takes some getting used to, and you definitely have to be careful to carefully manage your star generation with your star expenditure. Royal Gamble, I wasn't really a huge fan of. It just was difficult to set up with just one source of star gain. But yeah, I think there was a good bones here, and we were just kind of missing a little bit of the good juice. But yeah, again, next time. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. We'll be back with some more runs, probably some other class. We're gonna go through all the classes and then see where we land. And I'll see you all next time.